Good evening to everyone. I, Neodev Ghosh, Peace House Vice Captain,
I, Vidhan Narayan, Unity House Vice Captain.
welcome you all to the digital platform of BHIS Council Chronicles.
BHIS has always been innovative with respects to its extracurricular activities.
BHIS Chronicles time and again has been making lovely endeavors to open the arena of widespread knowledge through the vast spectrum of speakers from different fields.
BHIS Student Council takes the initiative with an enterprising and informative session with Ms. Kanchi Khanna.
A recipient of IC3's counseling-based approach to student recruitment Admissions Award 2019, Ms. Kanchi Khanna is a marketing and communications specialist. She worked as a communications designer and design teacher for over a decade before taking on education management.
She is passionate about the promotion of liberal education in India. Earlier as Director Outreach at Ashoka University, Director Communications and Outreach at Kriya University, and now as Senior Director Outreach and Admissions at Plaksha University.
We would like to welcome our guest speaker for the day, Ms. Kanchi Khanna, who will throw light on Reimagine Tech Education.
Not wasting much time, let's ask our guest speaker to talk magniloquently on this topic, which will lead us to give approbation for her magnificent work.
Thank you, Neo, and thank you, Vedant. Thank you so much, ma'am, Dr. Smita, for having me today on this session. It's my pleasure to be speaking to young students because they are really the future of our country. And the more informed, the more well-versed they are with what's happening in the world, I think we will be assured and confident that our future of our country is in safe hands. So with that, I'm going to dive into the topic. I'm going to today talk about reimagining tech education. We know that India has gone through a lot of changes in the higher education sector in the last 10 years. A lot of new universities have come up, universities which are really changing the way we teach, we learn, and students of today have an exciting time and exciting opportunities to look forward to. So while we do have a spattering of good initiatives across the country, and I can count 4 or 5 on my fingers, some in the north, some in the south, some in the west, some really amazing institutions that have come up. There were very few areas or very few universities and colleges and institutes looking at technology education. Now, by technology education, largely we Indians think of it as engineering education, right? The same things have been taught for decades and decades. Students are continuing to learn the same things while the world is changing so fast. So I'm going to share with you a short presentation, and if I answer your questions during the presentations, good. If I'm not able to, please pose your questions to me later during this webinar. Okay, ma'am, do you mind if I share my presentation? Can you see Vedanta Neo? Can you see what I've presented?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sure. So this was the time in 1982, and I don't think any of you was born at that time, when I first saw color TV, when I first got to hold a remote. And that was so fascinating, right? But for your generation, you had remotes in your hand since you were born. Fascinating and intriguing for you is probably Alexa. And they're not going to work for each other. There's a lot of worry and concern amongst people that technology is going to take away a lot of jobs. Almost 52% of the workforce will lose their jobs because projects will become automated. And we will not need that many people. But the good part is that almost 7, 9. So it's not like you were doing one job and then you started.
Ma'am, I guess ma'am got disconnected.
Yeah. Children, just please wait. Everybody, I would request, just wait for a while. Ma'am is just connecting again. So would request all of you to please wait.
I'm so sorry, I lost everyone for a minute. But my connection is back now. So I was talking about what are the new kind of jobs. So the new kind of jobs are going to require a very different kind of skill set. You will not be able to do those jobs with the same skills that you were learning earlier, right? So let's look at that. So the world today is becoming so complex and so new that there are no boundaries between what is digital, what is physical, and what is biological. We've got robots who behave like Indians. We've got machines which are connected to the internet. So they are cyber, they are physical, they are biological. So the lines are really blurring between all of this. If you look at the factories today, the factories are not run so much manually. They've got robots in it. And sometimes the entire life cycle of a product happens by a machine or a robot and nobody even touches it, right? All these factories are now getting connected to internet and to cloud. There is so much data available. There is so much analysis that is being done when products are doing. If you just look at, say Amazon, you're searching for something and it keeps giving you suggestions. You're watching Netflix, it keeps giving you suggestions. So what is it? That's all artificial intelligence, right? So no company, no product today is not connected to the internet or to artificial intelligence or where machines are not learning, right? So when the world has become so complex, we know that technology is going to play a huge role in the world that's coming to us, right? So technology has the power to change the world. It has the power to change our lives. And if you look at all the big challenges of this world today, what are the big challenges? There is no clean energy, right? There is so much worrisome concern around our data, which is on the website, on the internet. So cybersecurity is so important. Healthcare is so important. Just look at the pandemic. Look at how all of us are suffering. Diagnostics is not reaching the smaller cities, the smaller towns, the villages. So how are we going to make healthcare accessible to everyone? How are we going to commute? How are we going to tackle climate change? How are we going to tackle the problem of clean water? All these are huge problems that we know are going to be solved using technology. So the students of today or the workforce of tomorrow will have to understand what technology is what role it is going to play, and how can we solve these grand challenges? Because all the important careers are going to happen in these areas. All the good careers, the best entrepreneurial ideas are going to happen in these areas, right? Something that is going to completely change the way we function, the way we work. So if you look at these tech companies, Facebook, Amazon, these are all tech companies, right? They're very innovative. They change the way we think. But there are also smaller startups in India like Cure AI. Now, Cure AI is a company which gives the COVID result in 2 hours, whereas the traditional COVID test was would take 2 hours, would take 2 days. So there are so many small little, sparks that are coming out, which are making it possible for us to use technology to really change the world today. I think somebody's feeling very innovative today. Okay. So artificial intelligence and data science is really going to change the world. It's going to affect the economies of the world. And of course, when we look at it this way, why should a 21st century challenge be possible to be solved by a 20th century? So if the world is changing so much, why should our curriculum and why should the way we learn also remain the same? Having kept all this in mind, we are setting up Plaksha University. Plaksha is an upcoming university. It's going to be set up in Chandigarh. And we students who will join us and start their course with us in August 2021, right? So we will start admissions today. We started last week and we will continue till the batch starts, right? What do we do at Plaksha? We realize that the older majors never worked. So we created interdisciplinary majors, which means that you have a particular subject, but that's not the only subject that you're going to specialize in. You will also study the other subjects to understand how to be good at your own subject, right? We will also, so traditionally engineers never studied liberal arts. They never studied design. They never studied entrepreneurship. But in our engineering degrees, we are going to include all these. We are going to give you innovation labs. We are going to give you grand challenge studios. We are going to give you projects. And the biggest part is mentorship. So Plaksha has been set up by almost 60 plus business leaders and technology leaders and almost 20 plus academics and scholars from across the world. So the biggest advantage of studying at Plaksha will be the mentorship that you'll get. And also, you will be 18 or 19 when you join a university. You also have to find yourself. You have to grow as an individual. You have to hone your leadership skills. So a large part of our learning will also be towards you finding yourself and honing your leadership skills, right? Like I mentioned, Plaksha University is an effort which brings together 80 business leaders and academicians together to look at this engineering degree and how it should be changed and what should be the new kind of engineering degree, right? These people come from across 5 countries, from across 70 startups and 70 companies. They are all tech leaders in these companies, right? I don't know if you know these people. Some of them your teacher might know, like Dr. Abhijit Banerjee, who has just got his Nobel Prize. But if you look at the universities that they are from, they're from some of the best universities or the top 20 universities in the world, right? They come from there, and all of them are now designing the programs at Plaksha. So they've designed the programs, they are hiring faculty, they are also making sure that the standards of the of the learning and teaching that happens at Plaksha is really international in standards. So you can visit our website to read more about these people, but they are all leaders in their fields. We've also tied up with Berkeley and Purdue University.
I would request everybody to wait. There has been some network issues at ma'am's place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody please wait. There are some network issues at ma'am's place. So just be patient. As soon as ma'am's network will be sound, she'll be back again. Her sound, her noise, her voice will be audible. Yes, Shirin ma'am is rejoining. Yes.
Ma'am has joined. Ma'am, you're muted. Ma'am, you're muted.
Ma'am, I think you are
Can you hear
muted.
me now?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, you're audible. Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am.
I'm so sorry. There's some problem with my, I think, internet today. But these are the four, and I hope you can see them. These are the 4 degrees that we will be offering: computer science and artificial intelligence, robotics and cyber physical systems, biological systems engineering, and data science. Now, these are very, very new age, very cutting. And like I said, they are being designed with some of the best academicians from across the world. And you can apply to them if you have mathematics and physics in your 11th and 12th. Now that may seem that only science students can apply, but I think but what I really want to tell you is that the last degree, the data science, business and economics, you can also join if you are a student of humanities and commerce, but if you have mathematics with yourself. So only maths and no physics required for data science. But for the other 3 degrees, if you are a physics and math student, only then you can apply for it. Now, what happens is when you join us, you don't have to choose. You can leave your choice for the next year. The first year, everyone does common courses and common programs. It's only in the second year that you start choosing your major. And now you have understood which one you're most interested in, and you know what kind of career opportunities lie ahead of you. So in the second year, you choose. But if you choose, say, computer science and artificial intelligence, you can also still pick up some courses from data science or from robotics or from bioengineering. So you don't have to limit yourself to just one major. You can combine the major with electives from the other majors also. So there is ample opportunity to learn at Plaksha. So don't think that I have made one choice, I cannot study the other also. You can do that. You will be doing research, you will be working in labs, in studios, and on projects all 4 years that you are there. So we are, like I said, based in Mohali, very close to Chandigarh, just about 30 minutes from the heart of Chandigarh. So, and about 10 minutes from the Chandigarh airport. So we are in a place which also has the ISB Mohali. We have almost almost 20 academic and research institutions around us. So it's a delight for any student or any faculty member to be in this region, which has so many institutions around. So whether it is inter-college or inter-university programs or fests or collaborations, I think it's a very happening place to be in. And Chandigarh, of course, is a beautiful city. We've opened our admissions and we'll be starting in 2021, like I mentioned before. We have an application. I don't know, ma'am, how many students are over here are from grade 12?
Ma'am, I think very few must be there because majorly the students who have joined are from middle school.
Okay.
I'm just checking, ma'am. Just give me a second.
No
I'll
worries,
just
no worries.
get back to you.
So I'll just give a overview and I won't go into too many details. What happens is that students have to fill a form. It's an application form. We'll ask you about your academic scores, about your 9th, 10th, 11th. So those students who are still not in class 9th, please be aware that all good universities will also ask for your class 9th score. So you will have to become a little serious from class 9th onwards. So your 9th, 10th, 11th, all 3 scores are important. And then of course your class 12th, right? So the best universities across the world will not wait for you to finish your board exams. You can start applying to them while you are in class 12th, right? And the same goes for Plaksha. You can apply to us, you can send us your predicted scores. What is the meaning of predicted scores? That this is how much I think I will get. And we don't want you to send it through your counselors or your principals because it's the pandemic year. Those who are in grade 12, you can just self-predict. So predict the scores, send us. But what we are really looking for is how amazing a person you are. So it's not just about your scores. We also want to know if you've held any leadership positions, if you've been maybe heading any club, you were a part of the tinkering labs, or you were the school captain or the sports captain. If you've done anything outside of classroom, like in terms of extracurriculars, if you're a dancer, if you're a singer, if you love sports, if you've been participating in Olympiads and projects, in doing any kind of volunteer work outside, we want to know everything about you, because a person is much more than your academic scores, right? Your academic scores just tell us how you took the exam and how much you prepared for it, but it doesn't tell us what kind of a person you are. That's what we want to know. So after the application form, we are going to shortlist students who come for an interview round. In the interview round, again, we have a sort of a design challenge. We have a small design project, sort of a design problem which we give you. It's fun, and it tells us how you think. So how are you as a problem solver? That's what we want to see. We start taking applications in the month of November, and we continue to take applications up to the middle of June. So you can apply when you are ready, when you feel that I have the scores that I want to give, and I think I'm ready to take the interview. That's when you should apply, right? So whenever you apply, you get a result in that round. So people who apply in January, by January, will get their result by early February, and so on and so forth. Okay. What's important is that, are you a co-educational school, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, great. That's fantastic. Very few women join BTech courses, and that's what we are worried about. We want a lot of girls to join, as many as the boys, because the future belongs to both genders, and in fact to all genders. So we are really looking to get women in tech. We are looking to get people from all walks of life, not just from the people who can afford education, but even from areas and communities where they can't afford, but we know they are very bright and brilliant. So Plaksha is ready to give complete fee waivers, fund your education, give you scholarships, give you merit scholarships. We really think that only people who can pay this much should pay. The others Plaksha will pay. So don't worry at all about the money. The fee sounds a little high, 6.9 lakhs a year, but that is only for people who can comfortably pay it. If you feel that you can't pay this much fee and you can only pay half of it, then Plaksha will cover the half of it. We will have a conversation with your family, with your parents. We will look at your income, family income, how much expenses the family has to incur, and we will only ask you to pay as much as we feel the family can comfortably share. Okay. The living cost is about 1.8 lakhs a year, but also, again, like I said, Plaksha is ready to fund you if we feel you are a brilliant student and you deserve to study this kind of education. We are offering you admissions. We will make sure that you come to Plaksha and study, right? So that's all from me. But any questions around technology, education, any questions around liberal education, all are welcome. I'm here to answer for the next half an hour or so. If you have the time on a Sunday evening, I'm happy to answer all those. Thank you.
Ma'am, Agastya has a question.
Yeah, Agastya, please go ahead.
Ma'am, don't you think that technology is actually simplifying everything and making communication, collaboration, data collection, etc. easier?
So technology is, yes, Neo, that's what I said. Technology is going to be the answer for many, many of our problems, for communication, for mobility, for so many things. So if today, as a humanities student, you say that I will not learn technology, it's not going to work. And as a BTech or a technology student, if you say I'm not going to learn the humanities subjects, it's not going to work again. Because suppose you are a programmer and you are designing an app, right? If you don't understand who you are going to make it for, what your consumer is thinking, how your consumer is behaving, how much they are ready to pay, you will not be a successful programmer. You will not be able to set up a successful company. Whether you're a gamer, yes, whether you're a gamer or programmer or whatever you are, you have to understand psychology, you have to understand economics, you have to have business sense, you have to have design sense. Now think of 5 different apps which do the same job. The best looking one will be the one that many people will download. So you even need to know design. You also need to understand law. because if you don't know, you will be opening yourself up to lawsuits. So gone are the times when you would say, I'm a mechanical engineer and that's it. I don't want to learn anything else. And I have a career of 30 years. It's not going to happen. You will have to understand everything. And that is what our new national education policy says, that learning has to become interdisciplinary, which means many subjects, you need to understand all the subjects that are going to affect your subject, right?
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am,
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
ma'am, I have a question of my own. Ma'am, I'm in 9th class and I have chosen my subjects. So I am having commerce side and then I have taken computer science. So what are the courses that I can pursue in the future?
Computer science is great to have after a few years. I think almost all students will have to keep computers as a subject. So technology and computer science especially is going to be at the heart of all industries. So if you look at banking today, Vedant, now is the bank a technology company or is it a finance company? What do you say?
Ma'am, it's a mix because they do use technology in their transactions.
In fact, they are using more technology than technology companies today. They call themselves tech companies who are dealing with finance. That is how much tech has become a part of it. So as a computer scientist, you will have jobs in every sector possible. And because you have commerce, you already have the understanding of economics and you have a strong foundation in mathematics. I think you have a fantastic combination, Vedant, and there'll be many, many careers open to you. What you can do in terms of higher education is you can apply to universities like Plaksha. With your math and computer science, you can take up the degree for data science, business and economics. You'll get a BTech degree. But if you don't want to come to a technology university, you can also go to liberal arts universities like Ashoka, like Kriya. They offer BSc in computer science with mathematics, right? So if you, computer science bases in mathematics, you can't not understand computer science without math, right? So you can even get a BSc in computer science. Again, the same careers will be open to you. A BTech will give you slightly more careers, but a BSc will also give you similar careers.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome. Are there any questions that I need to?
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am, Augusta has another question.
Yeah, Augusta, that was my first slide. I don't know if you saw it, but yes, it is predicted that in 2025, and this is the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report. You should see it. Maybe I can send your teacher a link and she can share it with you. It says that 52% of all jobs are going to disappear. Yes. But then 97 million new jobs are going to come up because of automation. Now, why does that happen? When you automate something, what happens? You become more efficient. Your factory starts producing more and more. When your factory starts producing more and more, you hire more people. When you hire more people, people start earning more. This is the rule of economics, right? When there is more earning, then people spend more. And so the economy grows. Right? So when the economy will grow, more and more jobs will come up. So automation is initially going to take away jobs, but in the future, it will create more and more jobs, but for highly skilled people. Yes, for highly skilled. All of us will have to go through what is called a skilling revolution. The entire country will have to skill over and over again. Now, Gusti, I'm going to tell you a small fact. It's a factoid which says that 10 years earlier, engineers used to 20 years earlier, engineers used to do an engineering degree and say, for the next 20 years, I'm going to earn enough money with this degree. But after 10 or 12 years, half of your degree used to become redundant, obsolete, of no use. Nowadays, it's not 10 years, it's 2.5 years. After every 2.5 years, all of us have to learn a new skill. So you will be learning that new skill maybe on your own. But if you have joined a job, your companies are going to help you learn again. So after every 2 or 3 years, your company will spend on trainings. So companies will have to spend, governments will have to spend to skill you. And this has to be from both. It can't be just the companies, it can't be just the governments, but it can't also be individuals. All three of you will have to own your own skilling, right? But poor people, yes, definitely. I think that again we have to rely on the governments. We have to know that the governments have to start with programs that are vocational, because of which students can start their jobs and then later their employers can skill them. But skilling will be required because every 2 years, we don't even know what are the jobs going to be in 2025. So few years back, 3 years back, it was a rage to become a social media specialist. Today, every company is a social media specialist. Today, it's a rage to be the data scientist. After 5 years, maybe there is something new which we never thought of, right? Nobody knows what is the job in the future. But what we can do is that we can become learners. We can stop saying my growing or my learning has stopped. You have to continuously learn and relearn throughout your life. Otherwise, you will be left out. That's the only way forward. That's why it's exciting for this generation, but it's also very difficult for this generation, right? But then also, you are smarter than us. That's called evolution, right? If I am X smart, you are double X smart. And your children will be double, triple X smart. That's evolution. That's how we have been evolving over years. Because you are going to be exposed to so much, you will be far more, Agastya, smarter than me or anyone in my generation, right? So don't worry, you'll do just fine. I hope that really answered your question. I was reading what you were typing, Agastya. Agastya, in which class?
Ma'am, 5AA.
Agastya, you're such a smart child. You know, even grade 12 students don't ask me such questions. That's a wonderful question. Thank you for that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Any more questions from anyone?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, content technology, Carnage Learning currently develop technology. Yeah, God.
Agastya, type your question.
Agastya, type the
I
question.
think that'd be better.
Ma'am, Plaksha University is now for running for how many years?
So, as Plaksha, we've been running for the last 3 years. We were not doing BTech degrees. We were doing a tech fellowship, which was a 1-year postgraduate diploma. We were also doing a young tech scholars program for high school students. But BTech, we are going to start from next year. So we'll become a proper university this year, and we will. But when the students come in, of course, we would have got all the accreditations.
Ma'am, there are no other, for other streams of subjects like commerce and
Not
arts?
as yet. No, not as yet. So, Plaksha Smita has been set up by the same people who have set up Ashoka, right? So, Ashoka offers BA and BSc degrees, and Plaksha offers the BTech degrees. So, in many
Okay.
ways, the same people came together to set up this. But of course, now in the founder group of Plaksha, there are more technology leaders. In Ashoka, there are leaders from all over the world. But the main core founders are the same.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
I think we lost Augusta. I was trying to write something. But anyone
Yes, ma'am.
else having any questions, or Smita, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer those.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, you have answered most of them. The presentation was very nice. We came to know a lot about Plaksha. So it's not very far off also, just 30 kilometers from the heart of city, Chandigarh. So it's very viable place also to be there. So it's not like it's totally on the outskirts and you are just cut off from the city.
Not at all.
That is a very nice and favorable position. I mean, the situation for a university to be placed in. So that was nice. Yeah, really, ma'am, it's a very good this thing you presented today. So we are aware about university like Plaksha, and we can definitely talk about it, because until now we were not very much in awareness about this university. So it surely was a great, knowledge session you have given regarding Plaksha. So we can definitely talk about it, because until unless we know something, we cannot profess about it.
I'll send you the presentation if you want to know a little bit about the
Yes,
Academic
ma'am.
Advisory
Definitely
Council.
send us the presentation. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
So Agastya has finally typed his question. Agastya, again a great question. Teachers, so see the human, what is going to happen is that students of your age and students of today's world will function on three different axes. One is the human interaction, very important, because humans are not becoming lesser, humans are becoming more and more. You are going to interact with humans who are from Kanpur, who are outside Kanpur, people like me who are sitting in Chandigarh, and then people who are sitting in Greece, and then people who are sitting in the US. So you are going to interact with people because of technology. You are going to interact, Agastya, with people who don't look like you, who don't talk like you. So all the more reason for you to understand human interactions. It's very important. You will have to learn how to interact with other humans. Earlier, what used to happen is I'm working in Mumbai. I interact with people from Maharashtra. That's all. I don't need to know outside. But because businesses and the world is becoming so connected, the second axis on which you will have to function is human machine. You will have to understand machines. You will have to understand how those machines are working, whether those machines are working for you or with you, or those machines are smarter than you, because there is human interaction. There's machine learning now, right? Then the third axis you will have to function on is human environment. If you don't stop polluting the environment, if you don't stop thinking about the environment and considering whatever decisions you are taking, how it is impacting, and don't think these decisions have to be only taken by the president of USA or the president of Korea or whatever. These are decisions that you will take. Suppose tomorrow you set up a small factory in Kanpur. How are you disposing of your waste? How much are you polluting the environment? So each one of us will have to think about how we interact with humans, how we interact with machines, and how we interact with the environment, right? All three. So it's not to say that technology and humanistic values will be separate. People who are in the field of humanities and commerce will have to learn technology, and students who are in the field of technology will have to learn humanities, will have to learn what is the empathetic bond. It's very important, the empathetic bond. Also important, one more thing, Agastya, is the ethics. Now, whether Facebook is using your data for advertising, or Facebook is selling it to somewhere, or Alibaba is selling your data without taking your permissions, there has to be a strong focus on ethics. Both empathy and ethics are human values. They are not machine values. So empathy and ethics is not going anywhere. You will have to continue with counseling, mentorship, professorship, teacher, student bonds. I think for the next 20 centuries also, this will not go away anywhere. Technology cannot take this away. Technology can only supplement it, right? Thank you. And that was a great question, Agastya. I'm so impressed. I hope you grow up and apply to Plaksha. I would love to have you in our university. I'm so excited to meet people like you. And ma'am, I think you were wanting to close the session. I think this is a great question to end it with.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for the stimulating speech, which was indeed a revelation. I'm sure everyone must have been amazed to know more about the topic.
Our heartfelt gratitude to our founder and CEO, Mrs. Preeti Agarwal, for initiating such talks, which kindles us in the curiosity and deepens our knowledge. Thank you, ma'am.
We convey our yes, ma'am.
No, go ahead, please. Thank you so much.
We convey our gratitude to our speaker, Ms. Kanchi Khanna, for the dynamic talk.
Thank you so much, everyone, to be a part of this BHIS Council Chronicles.
We will meet on 21st November 2020 at the same time with another guest speaker, Ms. Ratna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.